Wow. Wow. Just reading these comments this morning. Wow. So much to learn from all of you. I am grateful. What a blessed moment in life. What a joy to be here with all of you. Did you see Brandon and Heath yesterday? Fire session that was taking place over here. Lighten it up, Brandon and Heath. We have the video over here. Maybe the mods already have the link. I'm going to go ahead and get this in here for everyone. Get that bookmarked over there. Pull that up. This session was incredible. You're going to want to watch it. Brandon and Heath bringing the fire, conquering the markets all day long. So proud for both of them. So grateful for both of them. What amazing friends, conquering the markets. What an amazing place. Grateful for each and every one of you. Grateful for each and every one of you. Most especially this morning for the moderators. Thank you. Thank you. And for each and every one of you, as I read the comments before, Wes, that's incredible, my brother. Wes, that's beautiful. You are wonderful. We got Bitcoin at $58,000 this morning. That's nice. Breaking out from the bull flag. That's beautiful. Getting ready to resume here. Looking good. By the way, did you notice this? I'm sure you all have. You guys are always way ahead of me. But did you notice that this pullback over here was the steepest? And then this one was a little less steep? And then this one has been the least steep over here. Beautiful stuff we're seeing. We never had, the double pullback is what it stayed, right? This is 30%. This is what? This is 25%. And this is what? 15%. Now we're coming out of it. Listen, I don't even know where this is going to begin. Heath, great work yesterday. You and Brandon really bringing the heat. Really beautiful to watch. Proud friend over here, you know? We got a lot to talk about. Actually, every day I wonder, what are we going to have to talk about? Every day I'm wondering and nervous if I'm going to be able to deliver. It's so important to me. We got a lot prepared, and the discussion is going to take us places. What I'm focused over here right now at Bitcoin at $58,000, right? What am I focused? Do you see the traditional markets are shook this morning? Everyone this morning is shook in the traditional markets. You know, we saw a $20 billion margin called by some family office. Everyone's wondering why the markets aren't crashing this morning. There's a wall of fear like I've never seen before. Maybe at the end of the session, we'll talk about all this crazy. What do bull markets do? They climb a wall of fear, right? Oh, that's not so interesting, but we'll get into it. We got something that's look at Alan this morning telling us what's happening. Important signal, right? Visa's allowing direct payments settled on USDC, bypassing fiat conversion. I expect Bitcoin and new alts will be next. This is the news that energized Bitcoin to convincingly break out of the bull flag and wedge today. Boom. Now, I wanted to tweet out to you yesterday. I was waiting. If we would have broken out of this, is Ethereum we're looking at. We were looking at the pullback. This is the first area of resistance. As we made that higher high, if I were awake, I was going to tweet that out to you on Twitter. It happened while I was sleeping. I woke up. I didn't know which way. We were into resistance last night. I didn't know if we were going to be up here or down here this morning. We broke out to the upside, completely bullish. Yeah, Carl, conquering the markets all day long. Pure Vita, thank you for that. I can't speak about something I don't know. Someone else this morning was commenting here about that as well, that they're doing it on Ethereum. I don't know what's going on. Thank you guys for pointing that out. I learned from all of you. No, thank you, Alan. We're grateful for you. We love your game. We thank you for bringing so much value to all of us. We're totally in tune with that. We broke out to the upside here. What's next? I am fully positioned. I didn't get the third tweet. You saw over the weekend. I got a few tweets out for you as we first hit that first entry and then the entry on the 8-hour. I didn't get the last entry out to you because I was sleeping when my limit order triggered. What's my last order here? Got two more, by the way. Over here, I'm fully positioned now. I'll be fully positioned to more, breaking above this little bit of resistance right over there, right? As price takes out that level, somewhere around 60,000. Call it if you want, 362. And then on the new all-time high, I will be not only fully positioned in more, I'll be fully positioned to the max. You know, by the way, look over there. By the way, look over here. if you can't laugh at yourself, what are you doing? Right? So what I wanted to say to you though was that the exit, you have to be preparing for the exit. It's all a psychological game. You have to be laying just as I was prepared for the bull market way ahead of it occurring, I'm prepared for the exit way ahead of it occurring, and it's going to get dangerous out there. It's going to be so dangerous because everyone's going to be saying the institutions are here. It's a super cycle. Bitcoin's going to $1.2 million. Hyperinflation's coming. Oh no, wait, it's hyper Bitcoinization. Everybody, the FOMO is going to be so intense. It's going to be ridiculous. I already know. I know what it's like. I'm going to have a difficult time myself. It's why I work so hard at preparing. I'm going to have a difficult time myself. It's why I work so hard at preparing. Now, we had a lot of people taking issue with the way that I played this bull flag last week. A lot of people calling me to task. Jordan, what's going on? I'm not going to cover it again. I don't even want to cover it again. If you didn't see me cover it on Friday, reviewing it with you, watch Friday's session. If you don't understand, it's following price alone along the market structure of support and resistance with the help of trend lines, then chart patterns. Trend lines take precedent. When we broke this trend line over here, when we broke this parabolic trend line over here, I went to cautious mode. I don't really know and I don't really care what a $1,000 move on Bitcoin when you're fully positioned and more means for you. I don't really know. For me, it's significant. I'm here to be risk adverse. The reason I've been around for 20 plus years, the reason that I'm able to support my family, because I know how to trade markets. It was masterful. Even if you didn't like it, here I am fully positioned, waiting to get N more, not yet N more, right? Fully positioned though, feeling good. And by the way, what is this? A 51,500 up to, 56,500, a $5,000 move on Bitcoin? For me, I don't know. I'm looking at much higher prices here. That's insignificant. The reason I point that all out to you because I was building up. You ever notice how my thoughts, they're kind of like always building, and then boom, at the end is what I'm getting to. When maybe I shouldn't share my exit with you on Bitcoin, right? How many people when I exit on Bitcoin are going to be like, oh, Jordan, price went up another $50,000. You didn't know what you're doing. Da, 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 da. Actually, I don't care. I'm going to share it with you, of course. Of course I will. That's who I am. As transparent as it could be. If you want to second guess me, I could care less. I know where I've been. I know who I am. I know where I am. And I know where I'm going. And whether or not you're going to be with me or not, whatever, that's up to you, right? What I do here and what I see shared all over the place is that everyone who understands what's going on over here, everyone who's been able to go ahead and make decisions that have become or are on the way to becoming life-changing, understand I just present my own analysis here. And then you're there to make your own choices and decisions. That's how we do and what we do. I will be sharing, I don't want anyone to get confused. I will be sharing my exit with you publicly with the greatest joy. Don't worry about that. All right, so what are we doing and what's next over here? We're looking at this. Wow. Do you remember back last year? Remember last year when I kept telling you what is signal? The greatest signal that we're looking at is not only the central banks continuing to increase their balance sheets, it's also going to be that government spending, right? Look what we have next. We have President Biden will introduce another coronavirus relief package. Wait, we just announced last week an infrastructure spending package. We just passed a couple of weeks ago the coronavirus relief package. We're talking about another one coming in April. What did I say a year ago, 11 months ago? I said the direct result of what happened is going to be UBI, Universal Basic Income. That is the end result. You can see it taking place right now. Now we're looking at April. The next coronavirus relief pack may cost trillions of dollars. We're just throwing out trillions here like it's a number. What does that mean for the dollar? That's the gazillion dollar question. What does that mean for the dollar? We're going to look at the dollar in just a little bit over here. This is the level we were looking at Friday, looking to get above that resistance. We were rejected by it. That's a little bit surprising, but it happened. Yields are mildly off this morning, not too, just consolidating over here. We're at a pivotal point. Why are yields rising? And why is the dollar bid here? It's a bit of a conundrum. Why is, as the currencies are being devalued here, as the US continues to go ahead and take out massive amount of debt, selling out our future generations' future, as we're here to protect that. Why does the dollar rising? Well, the more debt we go into, right? What happens? The yields have to continue to rise. As the yields rise here, as every other country is devaluing their currency, what happens? All of a sudden, a lot of people are interested in collecting that swamp on the dollar. We're going to continue to watch it. We have to look at silver over here. This is a beautiful step back. Look at the daily chart of silver over here. Well, let me pull up our chart first. Let's talk about gold and silver briefly before we get into it this morning. I'm watching this trend line over here, the lawn tramp getting set over here. What you can see is happening over here on the 8-hour, by the way. This is definitely a descending triangle forming. It could break either way. I don't know which way it's going to break, by the way. And if this breaks to the downside, that could be fantastic. We could take out a lot of stops. We could open up the way to the upside. But I want you to focus this morning on this. And by the way, before I get into this, right, look at gold continues to just consolidate beautifully underneath that resistance. There's a tell that's going on over here that I've pointed out to you since last week, and I continue to say, watch silver on the back burner here, but watch gold continuing to consolidate over there, right? Interesting. Watch this beautiful, this is a cup and handle. People are often pointing out cup and handles, and we don't have that level between the cups, right? It's not, in my opinion, from what my understanding, and again, if my just pointing and discussing something out make something trigger for you, even if it's contrary to what I'm saying, that's great. That works out for you. That's what we're here for. And you can see over here that the symmetry between the cup over here, this beautiful pullback on the candle over here. What was the bottom? 21.63, right? What's the top over there? 30. Look at that over there. What are we targeting over here? It looks about $50. Is that correct, or is that 40? Take $9 from the top, $40. Any resistance over there at $40 on silver, right? Jordan, you're looking at gold. I don't know what's going on over here with all my dots on TradingView. I think I'm going to have to clear all of my charts, clear everything on every single, TradingView is giving me these little space dots over here. Or maybe it's a signal that Bitcoin's about to break orbit and head into the universe. I don't know what's going on over there, but let's look at silver. Right? Let's look at $40 and try to see if we have any resistance up over there. I have at 35, 39, 40. I don't see much at 40. The only thing I see at 40 is this over here and then this. Do you see this little bit of resistance? That little bit of support? It's a light area. I won't really pay too much attention to it over there. Nevertheless, I think it's dependent on what happens over here right now with yields and continues to be. I think that gold and silver are going to shine. They're being compressed. They're going to fly. Timing's everything. All right, what else are we looking at today? We got a lot to look at today, right? This is beautiful. This is a sign. It's a sign. Bitcoin's about to take it. Jordan, hold control and capture the dots in the box. On a Mac, it might be Command. Gene. Man, thank you for that. Gene was bringing, anyway, Gene, thank you for that message over the weekend. That was interesting. Hold control and capture the dots. Man, sometimes I'm just lagging from you all. I can't even turn on a TV anymore? Hold on one second. I'm trying to hold control. I'll do it later. I can't really figure it out. I'll do it later. I could get rid of them quickly like that, though, Gene. That's a pretty good trick over there. Enjoying the moment today. Enjoying the moment as we should from all the hard work. It's Monday, though. We're waiting and we're watching. All right. Look over here at this beautiful chart. The reason I'm showing you this chart over here, everyone should know, right? This is we just looked at the 3 pullbacks this morning. I showed you the steepness. The first one was the steepest. Let me pull up Bitcoin over here. I like my charting better. Let me pull up Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin. $58,000. Right? We had the first pullback, the steepest pullback, then a little bit less steep, and now this last one was the least steep over here. Are we getting ready to fly? Look at some targets that we could possibly be looking at over here. That's the only reason I bring this up. This is somewhere around, I'm going to call it $82,000 into that level over here. If I zoom out a little bit, I can't zoom out. We hit this level over there as the peak high, and then the one above it. As we get higher, let's say as we crossing $70,000, I'm going to revert to Will's log scale chart. We're going to be looking at what resistance we're looking at and why, and see where that lands. It's going to be exciting. This next move here, the one that all of us have been setting up, could be really exciting. It could bring us up into the bear market low. I'm really, really looking forward to it over here. This is a couple of things that are interesting. Stock to flow model. Stock to flow, that's plan B, suggests that Bitcoin will hit $100,000 before the end of May of 2021. Stock to flow X, I don't understand, by the way, why there's a stock to flow and a stock to flow X. That's fine, I don't need to understand. Suggests we will hit 240K by the end of August 2021. The reason I bring that up to you, and by the way, I love Plan B's charts. I love the color-coded. This is what's helping me find the bottom here of the coming bear market. You could see 15 months to the next halving. That's the bear market low. I don't really care how far of a drawdown we had. I expect we're going to have an 80-85% drawdown in the coming bull market phase, right? As everyone, and it seems a lot of retail are going to be holding. It seems to me from the comments I read across Twitter that the majority of retail is going to be holding through the cycle. I wish I could say great for them. I think they're missing the most important trade that matters. That's fine. I'm looking at over here as we're getting very close to the next dot printing. As the next dot prints in just a week or two, could Bitcoin be trading at $70,000? Higher? Maybe. We're going to be watching it. Will that be? Look over here. Follow the dark green dot. Go to the left. Follow the dark green dot, go to the left. Are we looking at coming at towards the bear market low? It looks to me as if we are. That's what I follow these charts for. They're beautiful. I love the pretty colors. I don't understand or want to really understand the stock to flow model, but this is kind of cool because it does have the history of being correct. It hasn't been proven wrong yet. They're saying at the end of May, $100,000. You remember this tweet that I put out over here, January the 27th. Before the end of June, I always put out things that I know are going to be correct. If I'm putting it out there, I can't say I know will be correct. Things that I believe are going to be correct. If I'm putting it out there on YouTube, Twitter, I want to be proven correct, right? Before the end of June, $100,000. I like that little bit of, how do you say, confluence of opinions, putting me in the right place at the right time. I like it a lot. And by the way, if we are trading at 240,000 by the end of August, as we're getting ready for that final pump up, could we be looking at some dizzying numbers like $400,000 bull market peak? September 2021, 1 month later. Well, that's what the last bull market would suggest. So those are just kind of interesting numbers to get our bearings about, as is this new chart put out by Charts BTC. You're looking at each of the cycles over here, right? And notice, and just really interesting as we're just looking at that awareness that we want to have that. So many people thought $60,000 was the top of the bull market. That, many people over the last week were saying 60,000. We had other people selling their Bitcoin at $27,000 and $38,000. People who consider them quote unquote macro guys selling their Bitcoin at $27,000 and $38,000. I want to continue to make sure I have that awareness of where we're going, right? And look at this. From each cycle, if you add 20x, right? Each cycle so far has produced at least a 20x return. 20,000 into this next cycle, well, that puts us at $400,000. That's pretty insane. That puts us right in the sweet spot that we're looking. We'll continue to watch. Here's another one over here. This was just, where have you seen trend lines on a log chart? The reason I bring this up this morning is because we're going to be doing that soon. As we hit towards $70,000, I'm going to be bringing up all the Conquering the Markets, whether it was Patrick, whether it was Will, my own, and I left someone's name out, but I have them in the logs, the Bitcoin price targets video in the description. We're going to be looking and referring to our log chart trend line, blah, 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 blah. Take profit levels, right? But now we're getting some towards some commodity guys over there getting in the game, talking about, and I don't believe this is true, right? They're saying, after 2021, Bitcoin may transition into a risk-off asset in their view. I think it's too soon. I don't think that would be until after Bitcoin overtakes gold market cap. That's probably somewhere around 2025. We got many years ahead. Could you imagine our game collectively conquering the markets? Could you imagine our game in the 2025 bull market? I'll be able to sit back and just let you guys run the show, right? Iron and sharpening iron. That's what we're looking at over here, and it's beautiful. I don't think yet. Anyway, we got a while to go here as we're getting ready for the end of our bull market phase over here over the next 6 months or so, bringing us into this massive peak blow off top, getting ready for it. It's all beautiful. I love to look at it. I love to watch it. I want everyone just to be aware of what I'm doing. Doesn't mean that you should do it. Not investment advice. Unless you understand what you're doing and the choices you're making and the decisions you're making for yourself, you will never be successful. Nevertheless, I always like to share with you what I'm doing, right? I'm waiting here for I'm fully positioned now on the breakout of the bull flag, as I said I would be, right? Before all this unfolded, I told you exactly what I was doing, how I was doing it, and why I was doing it. And then as it unfolded in real time, at least for the first 2 of 3 entries, I put out a tweet as those exit entries happened in real time. And then I told you, right, that on the break of the trend line over here I would be fully positioned, right? That occurred overnight. I couldn't get you into that. And then I'm telling you right now, as we break these little resistance right over there, that's when I'm fully positioned and more. And on the all-time high, I will be fully positioned to the max, right? Bitcoin, could we pull back over here now, right? Should be now the top of that bull market, that bull flag. That should be resistance. Is it possible we come in and test that? Or even this trend line over here now? Let me just make it a little bit darker for a second. By the way, we might not come in and we might not. We might test this as resistance, or we might come back down and test that. That resistance flipped into support. This also might be support on the way up. If you remember, it happened over here. We broke out of the bull flag. And then we came back down and we tested that broken resistance until it held as support. Once we took out that swing high, that's when we started shooting up. Things are looking mightily bullish over here. This is the move that we have foresawn that could take us into the coming bear market low. As that happens, we will say, okay, this is what I perceive is the area that we're looking at for the bear market low, whether it looks like it's going to be higher. And that's all we could say here right now. We got a lot to look at across the markets. Let's get into that. By the way, Ethereum looking very bullish, coming into resistance. As soon as Ethereum clears this last trend line, I really wanted to this one tweet out to you as that unfolded. I was sleeping though, after you had that pullback into the resistance, these 2 red candles on the resumption out. That was the first place to add to Ethereum. Feeling good about it. Now we're coming into the second resistance. Whether or not she's able to blow out past this, or we consolidate under it, or even test back that broken resistance to see if that holds as support. I don't have a crystal ball. Any of those things could unfold. Once we get Ethereum breaking out with Bitcoin, it's on. We got the 2 crypto leaders smashing through, breaking out, and it's going to be beautiful. And I enjoy every moment of it. GBTC, there's a lot of you who know a lot more than me about GBTC. A lot of questions and concerns being floated around out there. I am the furthest thing from being in the loop or knowledgeable about it. I have a GBTC position. I will exit it at the top of the bull market. I'm not exiting it sooner. A lot of you are deleveraging, or I should say depositioning your GBTC positions, and maybe rightfully so. I do not know. What I do believe, and I threw it out there a long time ago, as ETFs are introduced, not just ETFs. Once QBTC was launched is when we first started talking about it. The more competition Grayscale has, then I believe that premium was going to come down. I never foresaw or even thought that it would go negative, right? Now, what I do believe is going to happen, and this is just my thoughts, there's some real concern out there. I suggest looking into it. And if you are one of the people who are really in the know, please do share your thoughts with me. I would like to know more, but I'm not interested in exiting my position. All right. It's anyway. What I want to get into though is I do believe once an ETF is launched, right? There's no question in my mind that Grayscale, who's already has a team in place, is going to roll over into an ETF, and they have the largest first mover advantage over here. I believe most people, just as most people go into what is GLD, right? Or SLV. I wouldn't. I've talked about on this channel why it doesn't make sense to take a position in SLV. Most people out there, that's what they'll do. And most people out there, they will be, if they're looking to take a position inside an ETF, I'm talking about normal people here. They're going to be going into GBTC no matter what. I think GBTC will continue to be a leader. That's just my own opinion. I'm the furthest thing from an expert on that. All right. Like I said, you all know better than me. That's for sure when we talk about things like that. 631 likes. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank each and every one of you for supporting this channel and my work. I'm grateful for it. Let's take a look at what's going across the markets over here. Okay, we're going to start with the equity markets. What I'm looking at and what I'm seeing, first of all, is I'm seeing last night, I don't know, we talked about briefly, last night we were seeing a major margin call on a family office out in Asia, $20 billion, and the market is shaking it off. It's shaking it off. What do bull markets do? They shake off that wall of worry. It's happening again right now. We see the S&P 500 from our perspective, right? We have breakout, retest, resumption, and now we see pullback. Is she getting ready to resume out, holding that last bit of resistance turn support? It's entirely bullish over here. No question about that. Nasdaq has been under a little more pressure. Nasdaq is still needing to clear above this broken support, now holding as resistance. Nasdaq breaks above there, and then what's it looking at? Let's step back a second. I saw last week that you could see that we're still making lower highs, right? And at the same time, not only were we making higher lows, there's that trend line. We made a lower low, and now we're into that resistance. It could go either way. This resistance could hold here, and if we resume off, that's negative here on the Nasdaq. It'll be under pressure. It will be the index, in my opinion, leading to the downside. Adversely, it's at a position or it's at a point right now where it could have some technical repair. It just needs to get back up above that last swing high. It's very close to it, right? We're looking at 13,000. Get above 13,000, break out, take out that last swing high, and then Nasdaq is joining the party. And whether or not that's coming from the devaluation of the dollar. When I say devaluation of the dollar, I'm not talking about the dollar relative to other fiat currencies. I'm talking about the devaluation of the dollar relative to its purchasing power. We looked at that a long time ago after the Fed expanded its balance sheet, right? As we saw Amazon shoot from $2,000 to $3,000. Was it Amazon? It's just, relatively, is it gaining purchasing power, or is it just that the dollar is losing purchasing power? I think it's obviously the latter. What else? The dollar at an important inflection point. We continue to watch over here. It could still go either way, right? Now, a couple of things have happened. What's going on with the dollar is a little, let's say, weird, right? You're seeing the debt increase. You're seeing the government talk about a multi-trillion dollar infrastructure package. And now they're saying in April, we're going to have what? Another coronavirus. But Why? It seems crazy to me, but whatever. It's what's happening, and you're seeing yields rise as a result, right? Uh, I'm not going to talk about really what's going on over in the blocked canal, but what I will tell you, but you all know how I am. It was in the end of January, early February, that all of us here were talking about what was happening with the world situation, and we all went out and stocked up on medicine, on food, and even to this day I don't know why I bought toilet paper. To this day I don't know why I bought. I think that I must have been subliminally programmed and triggered. Either which way, I'm always questioning myself. That's for sure. I don't believe that I have the truth. But this Saturday morning, I went out to Costco and I stocked up on toilet paper. If you don't believe that our global supply chains are fragile and now under pressure, I think you're missing the picture. Nevertheless, what's the response going to be if needed, right? What's the response going to be if needed? Print more. We have to watch what's going on with the dollar over here as things are getting hot. As we're seeing economies open up, we're going to see inflation pick up. That's going to be a concern. What the response is going to be. By the way, it's Bitcoin that did it to me. It's Bitcoin that caused me to have that type of perspective. The more you get into Bitcoin, the further you go down the rabbit hole. It changes the way that you look and think at everything. It's part of the, what do you say? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Back to the dollar. Where's Jordan going today? I don't know. But I'm grateful to be here with all of you, right? Bitcoin, $58,000. We're looking at Ethereum leading the way here with Bitcoin. I love it. I'm so happy for Ethereum to lead the way. That just means to me that it's more of a speculative rise. We're going to be in a bubble. We're not close to being in a bubble yet in Bitcoin. We will be in a bubble. It will be shortly, whether it's 5-6 months from now, that bubble is going to pop. We're prepared for it. It's still cheap to buy Bitcoin. By the way, should we talk about it? No, I want to go back to the dollar. I was going to say, is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? But listen, if you're just joining us today for the first time ever, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. It is good that you are here, but we really set this up last week in ad nausea, right? So what else? People panic. There's no question about it, Ryan. I'm telling you, I'm a lesser man for back in January stocking up on toilet paper. I just don't know why I did it. I feel like that for some reason that I was programmed. I have no shame in admitting it, So they got me, and they will, It's just a question of getting back on the right side of the trade, though, Ryan. It's okay that they got me. It's better that I was able to acknowledge the fact that they got me and then get myself back on the right side of the trade. That's what it was. It was around early June. It was pretty fresh, right? Just in early June, I had to travel for immigration purposes to San Francisco. And I remember having to mentally deprogram myself from all the fear, right? I had to take an Uber. I realized that, wait a second, there's no reports of any Uber drivers or passengers being, being affected more than anyone else. Anyway, just little bits of things thrown in here and there. I want to focus on the dollar. And I can't, did you see twice or 3 times I looked at the dollar and then went off of it? The reason being is because I don't know what's going on over here. I get above this, and that's when I'm saying, like it or not, I'm long the dollar. I wanted to talk about why I didn't do it here. This one was quick, right? I said to you as this occurred, sometimes you don't get a pullback with lower highs. And when that happens, sometimes you get a fast move up. I told you I was targeting 92.80, right? We peaked out at 92.90 so far. I was right there. That's cool, right? I told you that if we are able to get up to 92.80, we went a little higher, I would then be looking for the retest. We had a retest. We had two lower highs occur, and then a resumption off. If anyone here is bullish on the dollar, that's good. You're doing the right thing, and I get it. No question about it. I'm waiting for a break of that resistance there for me to put the circle in, to me to publicly say, whether I understand it or don't, I don't really care. I'm following the technicals, and what the technicals are saying to me is that we're seeing the dollar break a major level over here, and then I'm targeting this blue box over here. And what I like about that is that at any point in time, if we get a breakdown, a technical breakdown, and I don't think it's going to be a break of this support over here, by the way, which could happen. We could break out over here and come back down. It will be this trend line that I will wait to be breached before I turn back bearish on the dollar. Okay? Once we break out to the upside, in order for us to break down, we're going to have to prove it, right? It's not just taking out this little bit of support. I'm telling you in advance what could happen. That way, in case it happens, you're already prepared. It's what we do, right? And it's how we do it. So there we are in the dollar, and we're still a little bit indecisive. It could still go either which way, and there we are. All right, what else? Let's keep going over there. We looked at gold and silver, and this we talked about as Bitcoin came out of that bull flag. Once it broke that trend line to the upside, that's when it's time to reposition into our favorite trade, the easiest trade of the year, Bitcoin versus gold. You could see it breaking down over here, making that new leg down, getting ready over here to break to the low. That's beautiful. That's nice. There's other things that I want to look at, and I want to have a strong FX session over here. So we're going to do that right now together. Let me unflag everything and start fresh. All right, what's going on, everyone? Jordan, focus on the technicals. I gotta try. All right. I'm seeing a lot of toilet papers in the comments. Lots of toilet papers. Okay. Boom. But I'm sorry, just reading what you guys share. I love to read what you guys share. No question about that. No, my email. Please don't email me. I'm not gonna see it. Please don't email. There's no way I'm gonna see it. Right? Don't do that. Where are we going? Right? Let's take a look at FX. Let's get a strong understanding. That's just, by the way, we're setting that off, knowing what's going on with the dollar over here. The dollar's at an inflection point. As we look at dollar pairs, we're going to see which are the weakest and which are the strongest. And if we break out over here, which pairs we're looking to attack with the dollar. So which pairs we're looking to attack against in favor of the dollar. Okay? So discuss the TP chart, please. I'm not going to be looking, by the way, I don't know what you're talking about, but until we break towards $70,000, as we break above $70,000, is there, by the way, a little bit of, we got to just consult it really quick. That's when I'm going to break out my log scale charts, and that's when I'm going to be looking as to whether or not we're looking at any type of, what our take profit levels on Bitcoin might be, the areas we're looking at. Right now, until we get to $70,000, we're just in like chill and enjoy mood. Is there any upside resistance, right? Like hold on, I need to make this darker. I don't see any that I want to look at in a tight channel over here. I'm not looking at that, and I don't do this, right? Is this something? Come on. I'm so far out of the flow, it's ridiculous, but that's great. Because you know why? That's okay. Are we looking at some type of resistance as we come into that area right over there, which is right now, between $64,000 and $65,000? It's nothing that I'm paying attention to. How about that? I'm aware of it. You could say that, but that's not how I do it. That's not how I do my art. That's your first mistake, calling it art. Yeah, it's an art. What my TA is an art. I don't care if you like it or accept it or whatever. I sincerely don't care. Anyway, here we go, and let's take a look at FX. Let's start with the Euro US dollar, and let's build around. We'll first look at the dollar pairs, then we'll look at the Japanese yen pairs, and then we'll probably be looking at some crosses I gathered today. We're looking at the Euro US dollar, right? Continuing. This was over here. It was probably around the first week of March where we did the Forex Masterclass in the Conquering the Market live training session. By the way, this week's training session will be on Wednesday. We'll receive more details tomorrow, just letting you know it will definitely be this Wednesday. As far as the topic, it will be posted and sent by email posted in the Discord announcement channels, right? I saw someone else saying that that a lot of Swiss franc pairs were also set up in the Discord this morning. So we're going to take a look at that, right? We're going to be taking a look at everything that's going on. But this trade set up the Euro US dollar over there. It was during the Forex Masterclass, Advanced Intermediate, that we looked at this trade unfolding over here and what's going on. We're still seeing that weakness. There's no place to attack right now. We're in no man's land. When I say we're in no man's land, we got resistance up over here and support down over here. This trade from the entry that occurred off this breakdown, retest, resumption right over there, and then another retest and resumption still afoot. No trade there. Okay, Australian dollar, US dollar. What's next? All right, so interesting. You could see that right away. The Australian dollar is stronger than the euro, right? If I pull up the euro Australian dollar, I could see, well, not too much, but definitely you could see the Australian dollar stronger than the euro currently, right? I'm seeing over here, and I'm not gonna, this is not tradable for me, this strong downtrend, and I'm seeing kind of like, I can't get a good read on it. I thought I was seeing like this, but it's not clear and it's not clean. Breaking down below here, that might offer up opportunity, but this is not something I look. What I'm doing right now, I'm going to go through all of these FX pairs, and I'm looking to see if there's any opportunity. For there to be opportunity, first of all, it needs to be very clear for me. If I find myself trying to force something on a chart, that's a red flag, and I know to move along. Do not try to force a setup at any point in time. You're looking for that clear and clean setup, okay? What we're doing over here, and I call it the surfer analogy, it's a surfer sitting on their board looking at the horizon, and they're waiting for a set of waves to come in. That's how waves work. They come in sets. And out of that set, right, you're looking for what you determine to be the best and cleanest wave to ride. That's the setup you're looking for. We're just getting started, right? So we're looking at the Australian dollar, US dollar here. And I see right now that what has happened is that we've came down into this support level, are bouncing off of it. And if I were to clone this line and put it right, you see that touch of support and that resistance, we'd be coming into resistance right now off that bounce, right? Now, so I'll just drag this down to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to drag this line down, and I'm putting it right there, right? So do you see all these touches of support, by the way? Again, support, and now into that resistance. I'm not going to leave it there. I could just eyeball it and do that. So do you take the trade coming back down into the support, or do you wait for like a bigger technical break? Are you waiting for that last swing low to be taken out? Or do you not even want to attack the Australian dollar versus the US dollar? What you want to attack strength versus weakness, right? Please engage on the like button. Please do. Woo! Zen, have a beautiful time out there. Have a beautiful time. I'm super bullish on Bitcoin. No discussion about that. All right. Sorry. There was something someone said I want to know more about. So I was seeing if I could see that. I don't see it. I'm going to keep going with my flow. Right, Peter? Thank you, my brother. My brother. Thank you, my brother. Listen, I'm going to keep going over here. Litecoin follows Bitcoin. Litecoin follows Bitcoin. Bitcoin's pumping right now. All right. I want to finish my FX session. If we still got a lot of fuel in the tank, we'll take a look across all the altcoins for sure. Let's keep going. All right. So, and then the question you need to also determine as we're looking at a potential possible setup developing here, but do I want to buy, by the way? I don't want to attack anything versus the US dollar at all right now, even if they've come down into a place where they're bottoming as the dollar is into that resistance. But the reason I don't want to attack is because there's no question about it. The dollar above this area over here, above 92.50, above that resistance, it has a bullish bias to it, a strong bullish bias to it. I'm just not ready to go ahead and say, all right, major trend change occurred. That could happen overnight. That, it could happen anytime in it could happen this week at any point, but we're close. I don't want to, even if it's like, I don't pick bottoms. So I'm not looking to trade against the dollar. So I'm looking for pairs that are weak versus the dollar. So far, I know that the Euro US dollar is a lead candidate, but the Euro US dollar has also been a lead candidate for a while now. ever since this whole move started unfolding, ever since the break of that trend line. Do I want to attack down here? No, we're in no man's land between resistance and support. By the way, if you're interested in Litecoin or Theta or any other altcoin, pay close, hyper-focused attention to what I'm talking about right now, because I'm talking about how TA works. And TA works not only in FX. If you want to learn how to do my art, follow what I do in FX across all markets. When I say all markets, I'm talking about the indexes, I'm talking about individual stocks, I'm talking about commodities, I'm talking about futures, I'm talking about all of crypto, everything and everything. You could show me a market without giving me what the instrument is. All I need to see what price is doing, and I could trade that market. All right, let's take a look over here. We have let's take a look at the British pound. We're going to finish with all dollar pairs. So the British pound, you notice, first of all, is into resistance right now, and we're seeing it tailing off into that resistance. If it's rejected here and puts in a lower low coming into the next session, is that a place to attack? I don't know, but it's definitely worth me green flagging. It's the first setup I see today that I want to flag and say, all right, this is worth me watching again as we look at towards the end of Asia and seeing for the upcoming London session if there's any place that I want to attack. I could see over here also, I could see where this was resistance, support, right? This is the level that the market's kind of paying attention to. Now I use, instead of using like any type of blue box, which you see me every once in a while put in, instead of saying like that's the area of resistance, which it is, I don't do that. I use just a thin line, a fine line like that. But right there, that's where the market is paying attention to like that. I'm focused in on that. If we get rejected over here, this is something I will consider. All right, so I'm just lining it up, but I'm going to continue looking to see if anything else is way more attractive. And I'm not going to take, I'm very choosy about my trades. Very choosy about them. And then once I get into them, I'm in the habit of pushing them as far as they'll go. I am perfectly comfortable with getting into an entry that gets either stopped out at my max take loss, right? Whether that's a 0.5% if you're not yet profitable, or it's 1% if you're consistently profitable. Perfectly happy and content with any trade I take as long as it's a high probability setup getting stopped out. I'm also just as comfortable with any trade that has moved slightly into profit, right, on a 1-to-1 ratio, getting stopped out at break even. Perfectly comfortable, because if you can't do that, if you can't get past that piece of the puzzle, you'll never be a profitable trader. You'll never be in a position where you're pushing your trades, and you have to understand the majority of your profits will come from a few trades that have been pushed into profit. If you're cutting your winners short across all markets, you will never be a profitable trader. That should be trading 101. It probably is. You've heard it a million times. You have to push your winners. You have to push your winners. I know I did for a long time. What does that mean? If you know what it's like cutting your winners short, just mentally sit down and have a conversation with yourself and understand that you are prone to take profit too quickly. And what that means is you're cutting your winners short. And then you have a couple of trades that you hold on to, that you don't respect your initial stop loss, that you push it back a little further because you don't want to be wrong. And then you push it back a little further because you don't want to be wrong. And then that trade, those few trades, make up the majority of your losses. If that's ever happened to you before, sit down with yourself right now, press pause on the stream, turn off the stream. It's way more important that you have that conversation with yourself and reprogram your brain and understand that the success in trading lies in reversing that one particular behavior. New Zealand dollar, US dollar also under pressure, right? I was watching over here, the resistance line over here. I could see what the market's doing. Same thing. It's a little bit lower. This is weak. Market paying attention to this. This is also something to kind of watch. I think what I would like to do, though, is just look at this like this, all right? So, no, I'm not pausing here because I'm trying to force something to work. This is I'm seeing that New Zealand dollar weakness take place. I'm seeing the New Zealand dollar weakness because the central bank is trying to take the air out of the housing market. They think it got too far too fast. We're seeing the New Zealand dollar repriced because of that, right? We're seeing also the central bank working towards the Canadian dollar, relative tightening. So we're seeing some strength in the Canadian dollar. Those things are important. It's central planning, central banks, central planning. You have to pay attention to what the central banks are doing. This is also something for me to watch over here and watch what happens in the upcoming session. So I got two waves, two potential waves so far that I'm looking at and watching. I want to keep going. I just talked about the Canadian dollar also being one that is relatively strong, right? Do I want to attack the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar? No, I don't want to attack the US dollar. The dollar's pretty strong and been pretty strong, okay? So I don't want to, even though the Canadian dollar relatively might be acting strong, on cross pairs, I may be looking to attack the New Zealand dollar weak with the Canadian dollar strong. I may be looking on cross pairs to attack the Australian dollar with, versus the Canadian dollar. But I'm not going to attack the US dollar. I'm not going to go strength versus strength. Okay? Thank you, boss. Thank you, bro. Thank you for throwing in the taco over there too. All right? So what else are we looking at? The US dollar, though, when do you attack versus the Canadian dollar? This is a very important trend line that we have over here. This was the trend line that set off that uber dollar strength. This is a trade that most of us got into because we were watching the trend line break. The Canadian dollar was very strong, by the way, and then all of a sudden it got very weak. Once we took out this trend line and then I put in this upper trend line over there, breakout retest, a lot of us got in, and I think I got out too early because we went from, we moved massively quick, right? But this was the dollar milkshake theory. It's real, it happens, but when the Fed intervenes with a $4.1 trillion expansion of their balance sheet, and then when you get a technical, you can't, anyway. If we break out above here, above this outer trend line, right, will we be looking at the dollar breaking out versus the Canadian dollar again? Maybe. Right now, the Canadian dollar relative to everything else is holding up pretty strong. It's why I'm focusing in on it. What else do we have for US dollar pairs? The US dollar, Japanese yen. The trade that got away from me. If you go back to the sessions over here in early January, we were hyper focused on what was going on over there. No question about it, but it got away from me and I never entered, right? That's okay. No problem. I focus more on the trades that I missed, right? On my own era than the trades that I took. I'm not looking to learn from what I'm doing correctly all the time. I'm looking to learn from any mistake that I made. And by the way, on the Bitcoin trade over here, when I never, ever became anything other than bullish on Bitcoin. But when I exited my lightly leveraged position on the trend line break and then the retest and the resumption down, and I reviewed it with you on Friday, trying to find fault with it, I could not, and I cannot. Nevertheless, US dollar, Japanese yen, there's nothing to see here. Just it's breaking out. This is something to know and understand. It's breaking out of the bull flag, but by the way, it never gave an entry. I tell you, it's 95% of the time on FX, you get a breakout that doesn't retest and resume off. Here's that 5% happening. You got a breakout of the bull flag. It never pulled back. It looks like it's getting ready to resume off over here as the DXY is possibly getting ready to take out that little bit of last resistance over there. I'm not going to chase it. There's plenty of time. One of the most important things I can share with you is the market is always going to be there, and there is always opportunity. It will all change for you once you learn to be preemptive of that opportunity instead of chasing price. If you're chasing price, that maybe 5% of the time, it's going to work out in your favor. Do not chase price. There's no such thing as FOMOing. Winthrop. Yeah, there you go. Highlighting it. And much is learned. Much is learned. Go see M12 and you will cry later if you hold your dollars. I don't know. Do they still track M1 and M2? Or do they stop sharing that? I don't know. What happens if you could see up here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos. You can't see the tabs. And it's all about the digital dollar. I'm trying to do my research and find out what its implications are going to be on Bitcoin. Do I consider that a possible, or do I, you know what happened in India as they launched their digital currency is that they're trying to come out with a ban versus cryptocurrency, making it unattractive for miners and traders. Will we see at that particular point, is that when we're going to see a US government attack versus Bitcoin? It's a possibility. It's not happening right now. We're focused right now on what? We're focused on the bull market phase, and we're focused on what is going, anything that could derail this current moment in time, which we have our sights ending somewhere around September the 21st. Michelle's husband, Ian, has put out some work over here, a lot of work over here on what we're looking at. I'm not ready to share it with all of you yet. He shared it in Discord on Friday. If you didn't see it yet in the Bitcoin section, as I get closer, I'm looking to setting that up and sharing with you all. Yep, we looked at gold earlier in this session, right? We looked at gold earlier in this session, and we're talking many times. What's going on? That's gold and silver. Gold dumping. Yeah, gold yields rising, yields popping, right? And the dollar's breaking above that resistance over there. Let's check it out. I want to know everything that's going on. Thanks for the shout out to look at gold, right? Where's my DXY? I can't find the DXY. There we go. DXY, not breaking, but getting close, right? Is this being triggered by the announcement of the new coronavirus package? I don't know. We'll see, but it's happening. All right. So gold and silver continue to be under pressure over here, right? Gold down 1.5%. Where are you, gold? Gold down 1.2%. Never able to make it above the resistance. Consolidating nicely, but now backing off over there. And silver getting smashed. If silver breaks this level of 20, this is more concerning for me than gold. If silver breaks this 24.32, there must be lots of stops down over here, right? There must be lots of stops. How far could silver go? I don't know, but there comes a particular point in time, I believe, where if you are a long-term stacker, it's time to stack, buddy. It's time to stack. I don't think it's attractive. We've talked about when and why. Is it a waste of time? Is it a waste of capital? I think so. And Bitcoin also, as everything is under attack over here. Alan AU put out a Twitter thread about rising yields, the 10-year, and the correlation to Bitcoin. If you're not following Alan on Twitter, you got to follow him. All right, let me go back to where I was going. I got sidetracked a little bit, but let me focus on some Japanese yen pairs right now. As we were seeing possible risk off this weekend, right? What's going on? So Australian dollar, Japanese yen, I see we had this pullback, the breakout, right? The retest, and now trying to resume off there. Here's what's you could have a resumption trade this London session. People could have taken an entry over here if this is what they were watching, right? And that would have been a good entry, right? Where's your stop loss? Let's pretend you took this entry. Where's your stop loss? Let me move over to my paintbrush, right? That's what I'm hoping for, Andy. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for with my fingers crossed. Right? But whether or not that will happen, I don't know. So let's say that you took this entry. The only asterisk that I want to put out over here is that I tend not to take any entries Monday morning during London. Now, I'm not saying do not take those entries. I'm not saying, I will tell you, and I will tell you clearly, do not take any entries during the Asian session, the lowest volume session of the day. Do not take any entries. There's a lot of false entries, and by completely avoiding that session, you're going to be a more profitable trader, right? I will tell you, if the Bank of Japan, Australian Bank, or New Zealand Bank is intervening in the markets during their central bank announcement during the Asian session, you can take a trade during that time. That's what are you talking about? Less than 1%, of each and every day. But asterisk, I generally avoid Monday morning Asia. London. I like to do my work on Monday morning, though, New York, setting up the week ahead. Now, if you took this trade, it's still a good trade. And what I mean by that, if that you were just to spend you know, every single trade you took was a high probability conquering the market setup, and you know how to manage a trade, I believe you're going to be a profitable trader. Not just break even or better. I believe you're going to be a profitable trader, and that includes even if you only did it Monday mornings. All right. Nevertheless, I avoid them for good reason. Where do you put your stop? Right. There's two things that you could say. The safe stop, right, is definitely going to be down below here. Right? Is that too far away from market? You know you're wrong if this stop got taken out because you came back down, right? You came back inside that trend line and you took out that swing low. So you know you're wrong, but that's pretty far away from market. That's a pretty far stop loss. However, if you're targeting the all-time high here, it's about a 1-to-1. All right? So why it is possible, is that something that I would be looking for? In this case, no. Generally speaking, yes. How do you like them apples? So where's your next stop loss? Are you going with a tight stop loss below that last swing low, right? What's your risk reward now going into the all-time high, that last swing high? Well, that's greater than even a 2-to-1. That's a pretty attractive. It's a lower probability success rate, but a really attractive risk to reward. As you came into the resistance and you have resistance right in this area, is that the best place? No. Now that we're looking at what's going on, let me move this up a tiny bit to where we last put in that resistance, right? So that's a 1-to-1 anyway. So if you get into this area and you move it into, yeah, that's possible. But at the end of the day, I don't really like the trade. In this particular case, I would be going with a tight stop loss. I would be using a stop loss below this last swing high. I don't like to do that generally, but this is way too far for me, and I don't want to have my stop loss below there. By the way, if you're having trouble with stop losses and you pull up the true trend, right, and you look for that last impulse of the entry CCI, which occurred right over here, right? Here's the entry CCI off the entry. Here's the last time it breached below zero. That's a safe place to put your stop loss each and every day. We cover that in the training sessions, right? We cover that in the Conquering the Market training sessions. Follow the categories of stop losses, and you'll get the greatest instruction I could give you in the greatest detail right now. In this particular case, it's very far from market. I would have went with the tighter stop loss, and that's that. All right, what else? I want to continue looking at Japanese yen pairs. So let's get going. Swiss franc, Japanese yen, I'm avoiding. I want to look at some Swiss franc pairs only because I heard in Discord this morning there were a lot of pairs looking at Swiss franc setups. What I'm noticing over here, though, we looked at last week. If you're following every session, then you know that we were looking at last week the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, and the British pound, Japanese yen. So let me pull up the British pound, Japanese yen really quick. Putting in these trend lines, getting ready for the breakout. They both occurred, by the way, without a pullback that I like. The pullback was way higher. That's a sign of very bullish price action. That making the higher high right now. I'm perfectly fine with letting something get away from me. And just because that happened, by the way, doesn't mean that they won't come back down later and test that breakout. My thoughts are like every which way. Who's that? Nicholas de Jesus. Nicholas de Jesus. The more I know, the more. There you go. I love this comment, by the way. I agree so much with this comment. The more I know, the more I realize. The more I know about the markets, the more I know. Oh, wait a second. I disagree. Yeah, the more I know, the more I learn, the less I realize I know. But that does shift again. And you're in a great place right now to have that type of self-realization. What a gift self-knowledge is. One of the greatest spiritual gifts there is self-knowledge. And it's the same thing in the markets. Having the mind frame to understand that the more you know, then the less that you really understand means that you're really advancing. But I will tell you right now, since you're at that level, then there will come a time when then that turns the corner again and you move. It's kind of like Bitcoin. When you first get into Bitcoin and you think you understand Bitcoin and maybe you even take a position in Bitcoin, and then the more you learn about Bitcoin, you realize, man, I really don't understand Bitcoin. And I have so much to learn about Bitcoin. But eventually you come to a point in place where you're like, okay, now I do understand Bitcoin. It's the same thing in the markets. It's the same thing in the markets. Nicole, sorry for my pronunciation. I apologize. It's, please forgive me. I'm glancing at things over there. So sorry about that, Nicole. But I want to affirm right now two things that's really important place that you're at, and that it's going to get clearer again for you. You're in a really good place. The Australian dollar, Japanese yen. I wanted to finish this off with this. Is that, look, even if you break out over here, it's still possible to come back down. You could take out that swing low. Say you stopped out. Say you went with a tight stop loss and got stopped out. If this holds over here, this broken resistance from the trend line consolidation, and you resume off there, that's a great entry, and do take it if that were to occur. It's a good one, okay? It's a good one. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, also with keeping that tight stop loss, getting stopped out. This stop loss wouldn't have got stopped out. That's fine. As long as you hold that broken resistance, if it confirms into support, it's still technically very bullish. So if that clicked for someone or was meant to be shared with someone, I'm glad. And if you didn't, if you did it, then you got a long way to go. How about that? So what else are we looking at? And same thing here on the Japanese yen, the British pound, Japanese yen, right? I'm not interested. I'm not taking the trade right now. And maybe before making the all-time high, it comes down and tests this area of support again, and it holds, or test into that broken trend line over there, and it holds. That's all very bullish market structure. That will get me into the trade. I don't need to FOMO after this trade just because we had a breakout and then a retest, and it was a shallow retest, meaning it could quite be a very bullish market and resuming off. They could get away from me and I could care less. The market's always going to be there. There's always opportunity. That's what I'm getting at. All right. What's a good place to have? So, right? What's a good place? You're talking about the Conquering the Markets training session we did on trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged and how you manage those trades. Is a great question. It could be the question of the session. Let's take a look at it, by the way, right? So right now, so right now, the question is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to go. It's one of the most important training sessions we did, how to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged, experts only. If you don't know how to do it, all is that you're looking to do right now is to trade Bitcoin with no leverage. Doing that alone is absolutely all that you need to all of a sudden start making some life-changing decisions in your life. And by the way, if you're doing that now, trading Bitcoin with not lightly leveraged, right, and focusing it on the 4-year cycle, a lot of you, and I'm so proud, a lot of you are like, listen, I see that trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged could be life-changing, right? I understand the risks though, and I know that I don't understand it enough to be doing it right now. But what I do understand is the 4-year cycle. I'm already positioned into Bitcoin, and I know that I have between now and here to understand how to trade Bitcoin lightly leveraged, and I can prepare for the next bull market phase. That right there is absolute fire. That out there shows a phenomenal understanding of yourself and having that healthy, important, crucial respect for the markets. You're not looking to accomplish things immediately in a rush. You're not in a rush to lose your money, because if you're not prepared for battle, you're going to lose. You're on the right team, and you're taking the time it requires to get the proper education you need to make the moves you need to. You are crushing it. You are crushing it on all accounts. And it's not one or two of you who are doing that. It's a lot of you. And I have to just for this second tell you how much I affirm that, how much I respect you, and I think that you're crushing it. That's awesome sauce. All right. This is what I would consider an advanced question over here. And it's a good one. Right now, as we broke out of this bull flag, right? where should my lightly leveraged be, my liquidation level be on my lightly leveraged trade? And it could be at a couple of places. And I'm going to tell you right now, right? So what is different about trading Bitcoin without leverage? Strategy number 2, 3 ways to trade the Bitcoin bull market. Strategy number 2, you're adding on those pullbacks. On a lightly leveraged position, you should not be adding on those pullbacks. You have to be deleveraging on those pullbacks. It's a complete different strategy, and you're adding on the repair. Okay? You're adding as that momentum goes with you. Right? So the question is right now, where should it be? And listen, should it be all the way up here? Taking out that, what was it, 50,300? That last swing low, the bottom of the bull flag as you break out over there? Not for me. That would be too hyper aggressive for me. There's absolutely no way. Now, why I don't think, right? And as long as we're above this line over here, as long as we're above the breakout, I don't think that we ever should trade below there again. It's definitely a possibility that we could. First of all, we haven't even taken out the all-time high yet. We could very well come in for a retest. That retest could fail. And then if we're back in all of a sudden, that probability of us taking out that 50,300 ever again has significantly increased. So that means, and I would never, it's way too aggressive and way too, I'm telling you why I would never do it, because I couldn't sleep well at night, right? When I go to bed at night, I want there to be zero chance that my liquidation level could be ever reached. That's comfortable for me. That there could be, in my mind, anything could happen. And I have deleveraging levels, stop losses set in, so that even if price came off in a blink of an eye 35% while I'm sleeping, my liquidation level was already deleveraged while I'm sleeping, right? Because if you're trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged, you can never get liquidated. That's the goal right there. Listen, so anyway, now, let's say that you were trading wrong and you put your liquidation below this level that I hope is never broken again. Okay, right below that last swing low. Why I hope and expect there's a good chance it will never get broken again. It could very well happen, right? And the technical signal, if you break below this trend line, the odds where that circle is have significantly increased. And you also know that that circle is below that trend line again. It's below 2 areas. It's below the broken, the bull flag resistance level that's broken should now be support, and it's below it's below this trend line over here as well. If that were to happen, you have to begin deleveraging right away and very quick, because all of a sudden this is completely in play and we could take that out, right? And then we would be extending down this trend line. We'll be looking for where we could possibly bottom out, right? But we're not there, so we're not doing that right now. So that's wrong. I would not do that. What would I do, right? Or have I even moved mine yet, right? I don't have, because I had some limit orders triggered last night on the breakout of the bull flag. I don't even know exactly what it is at this moment, so I can't say exactly what it is. So what about our last liquidation level was where, right? I think it was, I said it should be below $37,000, which I didn't think would happen, right? So if your liquidation is still there, is that good? Yeah, that's good. And guess what? If you're trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged, you want to be comfortable and safe at all times, because it's so massively effective that you want to be comfortable and safe at all times and err on the side of caution. Whether you like that little New Yorker coming out. You want to err at all times on the side of caution. Okay? Now, are you ready to move this up over here? Do I think we're going to have, from this moment in time right now, are we going to take out this swing low of 42,000? Do I think bumping it up a little bit right now, if you're looking to trade hyper aggressively right now, below this level, below 43,000 is good and safe? Yeah, that's great. No problem. As long as you understand and know that if you break down below that area, if we're trading below this trend line and below this trend line over here, where I've circled over there, right around $55,000, that you're deleveraging, that you're taking the loss, you're lightening up on your position, and you're moving your liquidation back below that $37,000 level. That it's too soon. right? If you want to trade it hyper aggressively, yeah, you can move it up a little bit right now. Do you need to? I don't think so. Do you need to? I do not think so. If you want to, fine. Always always caution on the side of error over here. There's no need to have that little bit of, let's say, that friction, that pressure of being uncomfortable when you're trading Bitcoin lightly leveraged. You want to be in an absolute position of power, and you want to be comfortable. Yeah, whatever, you know, about that. The guy. So what else are we looking at? What else are we looking at? So, and Glenn, and I don't think that we're talking about the same things here, but I just want to affirm, there's multiple strategies to be trading Bitcoin. My personally speaking, like my lightly leveraged position, which makes up a significant amount of the overall profits, is a small fraction of my overall position, right? We have, as I showed you in the last training session, a small portion being trade throughout on BlockFi through taking out loans and adding that way. And by the way, that small portion has grown pretty significantly on a relative basis. And then you have also, of course, your Bitcoin unleveraged position, right? Which, of course, my stop loss is 0. I've already held through 3,800 on the bet over here when the model broke over there. There's no question that I'm not selling. That's and you gotta I don't want to use a bad terminology. You have to have multiple strategies. And if right now your only strategy is holding Bitcoin offline in a hardware wallet, that's a great strategy. Not only that, is maybe then if you're understanding, oh wait, we do have a 4-year cycle. It's the Wall Street cheat sheet. I showed you that clearly in last week's training session. One of the clearest things you ever seen. And then once you saw that, you can't unsee it. It's like Neo seeing in the Matrix, right? And if you're able to go ahead and get out at the peak, right? And then understand the bear market, and when it's the 15 months to the next halving, love Plan B's colored charts, know when to get into the next halving, you're way ahead of the game. And then if the next bull market, you have multiple strategies going on, maybe now you have holding your Bitcoin on leverage, as well as now maybe you're also trading a little bit lightly leveraged, that you just continue upping your game. Anyway, so we talk about that, or I talk about that in the training session, the Conquering the Markets training session, marked exiting Bitcoin, which is, we have 3 ways to trade a bull market. That was 3 strategies from beginner to advanced for the bear market. And as we continue over here, setting up the move into the bear market, there will be futures training sessions on that as well. All right. What are we looking at today? Well, it's been a long session. I want to look at some more FX over here, though. So we're going to continue down over here. Okay. Gold and silver. What are they doing, by the way? Silver now off 2%. Gold at the low of the sessions off 1.3%. We're looking at yields 1.69%, right? And the dollar, right, is green on the last 8-hour candle. Still trying to get above there on that breakout to confirm. Why is that happening? We talked about, as the U.S. and the U.S. The U.S. government signaling hardcore that they're looking to go massively further into debt here, talking about not only now a coming infrastructure package costing trillions of dollars, but now talking about a next April coronavirus package. You're seeing here that the market has to respond by yields rising. It's the only way to respond as it gets more and more risky, as the chances of the US dollar, the US government defaulting goes on their debt. What happens when you miss a credit card payment? They raise your rates, right? It's the only way they could protect themselves from the risks they're taking on. The market right now is responding to the further debt coming into the US government by rates rising over here. So what else? Matty H. Matty H. My brother. All right, what else? Let me continue taking a peek over here. Euro Japanese yen. This is coming into the resistance. It was lagging. It's lagging. We saw going into it the Canadian dollar Japanese yen, which is broken out. The British pound Japanese yen, which is broken out. This continues to lag. You don't attack this on the upside. You attack strength versus weakness. Euro is not strong. If this is rejected here, is this a place to look to sell? Being that we're seeing other pairs break out versus the Japanese yen, I wouldn't do it in this particular instance. Again, do watch if you haven't seen it yet, the Conquering the Markets training session that's titled the Forex Masterclass, where it talks about those instances when you would do it. All right. Right back at you, brother. Right back at you. Thanks, Gene. Thank you so much. You know, each and every, all I could do, Gene, and what I did a minute before going live today was just get on my knees and pray for God's help. That's all I could do, right? Is rely on the Lord. And, you know, it's all I could say. It's important to me. It's important to bring value each and every day for myself, for you, for all the people that we are affecting and going to affect. But I'm nervous each and every time. There's no question about that. I want to just peek across some other pairs over here. So let's do that over here. The New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, I didn't check out. I want to check out. We know that the New Zealand dollar is weak right now, right? And look at this. Do you see that it hasn't yet broken out? It's not even clear. Or you could say it has, maybe. Maybe it has. Yeah, I would say it has. I'm stuck on it though, right? It doesn't look bad by any means, actually. It looks quite attractive. It looks quite attractive, to be honest. I'm looking at it and it looks quite attractive to me. But I'm not going to be in a rush here. I'm not going to make a decision that's going to affect myself right now in the wrong way. Giles. Look. Holy, beautiful. All right. We're going to call it a session, actually. We're going to call it a session. Is there anything else that we want to look at that I missed? Let me know, because I'm in no rush. Let me actually put on some head snack, take a sip of water, and then see if there's anything else that we missed that we want to talk about, because we will. So we're going to drop some head snack right now, and then just take a sip of water.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing, the prices might be slashing, just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room, grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Throw from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
All right. Let's check out some offs. Let's do it quickly and briefly over here. So this question came up before. What about Litecoin? Litecoin has this beautiful history of consolidation, breakout, all the way through. And you could see as it closely does track Bitcoin at this point, at this particular point in the cycle. You could see the Litecoin also breaking out over here of the last one. It's hard for me to understand why someone would be interested in Litecoin over Bitcoin, especially Bitcoin lightly leveraged. But then again, and I saw last week there was like some crypto conference. They put together like a portfolio that includes Bitcoin and then like these other altcoins. But why? Why? Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats. What's more important than Bitcoin? What's more effective than Bitcoin lightly leveraged? The answer, nothing. So I don't get it. But yeah, so we see Litecoin breaking out, but let's focus on everything else. We know that we're watching Ethereum come into the last bit of resistance. Ethereum breaks out above this, whether it's a clean break, whether or not we're rejected here, consolidate right under it and break out, or break or pull back all the way to the broken resistance and see if that holds support and resume off there. All of those are bullish things. We're waiting and watching for eventually when Ethereum breaks out over here, because then it's on. And if Ethereum is leading Bitcoin, I'm super stoked, right? You could see Ethereum, Bitcoin coming back down now and holding that important level. It's the trend line over here, and it's also that support. So if Ethereum were to take the baton over here, and do some work here as the market goes off in a speculative run over here, fantastic. What about Aave? This is versus Bitcoin, Aave Bitcoin. Not yet. It's not running. So the hesitation, that's into resistance here. This is Uniswap US dollar. You got to wait for it to break above before it becomes attractive. In just starting to go through these pairs, and this is super, like, you want to see Ethereum and Bitcoin leading, right? If they're the ones leading, and then after their move, then you start seeing the altcoins playing catch up. That, in my mind, is a very healthy bull market. Right now, I think the attention should be focused on Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's what the market is doing. And what about Cardano, right? Okay, it's coiled up and it continues to coil. So right now, if you're focused on the short term, you got to focus on where the momentum is. The strength is coming from Ethereum and Bitcoin, as it normally does as they break outside of the consolidation, right? As they break out of the consolidation, they're normally the ones leading. And then after they do their push, profits are taken out of those two, and they start going down the line from large caps to mid caps to speculative nonsense. So that's that. All right, everyone. We didn't make it. We didn't make it to 1,200 likes, but we came really close. Either which way, thank you for sharing in this session with me today. I thank God the mic's on. Can you imagine that the mic wasn't on for all that rant? But the mic was on, and maybe someone watching the replay, if you could get us up to 1,200, I'd be grateful for that. Either which way, I'm grateful for all of you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for the time together. Let's go out with some Honeymoon instrumental. Hence Bitcoin lightly leveraged. Thank you. Thank you, Stefano. Thank you, Stefano. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elias, George. Thank you all for helping out. Excuse me, my voice is going. Thank you all for making this an extraordinary experience. Gemma, it's a beautiful day. Thank you so much. That's the mindset right there. Always looking to be learning. That's conquering markets all day long. Absolutely. Maria, beautiful to see you. The mods are the best there ever was. Thank you, my brother Giles. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, my brother Eric. Oh, I need some matcha. Thank you, Tom. Mark, what else can we do? Let's share, right? What else can we do but share? Thank you, my brother. God bless you too. May God bless all of you. Good question. Dave, this is the best question. Look, I don't know what's going to happen on Friday. Friday's Good Friday. Most like there's only one session I haven't been here with all of you guys ever. It just worked out that way. But Good Friday, I don't know if we're going to be doing Friday session. I don't know what that's going to look like or how I could even, if we wanted to, perhaps get Heath and Brandon doing a live session together. How we could get them. I don't know. But as far as on Monday, yeah, I expect to be here on Monday for sure. So we'll see. We'll just take it as it comes. Right now, what I'm focused on was this session right here. The next thing I'm focused on is planning Wednesday's Conquering the Markets training session. So as the week develops, we'll figure that all out. But thank you for bringing that into the conversation, just so we're all aware. So thanks, my brother. I want some more music. Phenomenal group, Gene, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Elias, thank you so much. Thank you. Ed, my brother, thank you. Brian's Fishing and Travel Adventures. That sounds like a channel I want to check out. Yeah, Simon, thank you, Mod, so much. Jovita, thank you, my brother. Thank you so much for helping each and every day. There you go. Peter, I know I didn't get to that. My voice was getting out of here. Well, this is honeymoon with focus. Playing then, Dad. Amazing. You guys are all amazing. My brother, thank you so much. The same to you. During this Holy Week, thank you for blessing us. The whole reason John has greatly affected my life. The whole reason I have such a beautiful outlook, always looking to build up those around me, because of the presence of John in mind. Thank you, my brother, for being an incredible witness. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for making me a better person. This is just honeymoon, not honeymoon instrumental. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for sharing this time together. I'll see you all tomorrow. We're going to do it again. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.